perception. Complicated situations have no space or time in my blue heart paradigm. Wintertime or summertime, the weather is the same. And in between the day and night, there's a whole lot of pain. Situations call for balance, but can balance come in time for my blue heart paradigm? For my blue heart paradigm. They said leave well enough alone. They said leave well enough alone. Nothing counts forever in between the heart and mind. And just beyond the notion, there is just another time. In the space where we awaken, Cupid is painted blind.
Hi and welcome to Raw Urban Sessions. I'm here with Hiroku and Dennis of the House of Cadre. Thank you so much for being here and for sharing your music with us.
Thank you.
Could you tell us a little bit about your last song that you played, The Blue Paradigm?
I guess that's a paradigm is a kind of a model of consciousness, a particular reality that you live in. And I think what that song is about, it's kind of looking at things that are difficult, you know, wintertime, summertime, the weather's the same, you know, getting the blues, but it's not a negative song. But it is talking about the difficulty, I think, in maintaining a good point of view in the midst of a lot of obstruction and difficulty and negativity. And, you know, it's kind of like whatever the bad thing is, there's a place for it in the paradigm. There's a place for it in the blue heart. It's not the happiest thing, but it's a real thing, so we'll take it.
That's beautiful.
Sometimes I don't sit down necessarily with something to write, and usually music comes first, and all kind of nonsense words fill themselves in. But I'm usually not specifically trying to say something. Things come out and I look at it and I said, oh, that's what I'm talking about. And once I find out what I'm talking about, I can embellish it. But most of the time I'm not trying to write a protest song, or most of the time I'm not trying to write a love song. I might write a love song, but it's based on feelings I've had, you know, not that I'm compelled to.
Yeah, what comes up organically rather than like premeditating it.
Yes.
That's really cool.
Yeah. I figure that's kind of more clear.
Yeah.
You know, the late abstract expressionists Rauschenberg, Jasper Johns, they all had this big thing about keeping their hand out. Keeping your hand out is kind of a hand, but keeping your hand out kind of means when you're working, not paying attention to yourself while you're working, to allow something to happen, because the brain is such a bully, and the brain wants to say if the thought cannot be made into words, it's not a real thought. Most real thoughts are not made out of words. So a lot of times I feel like I'm the first one to see the song. Not that I made it. Sometimes there's nobody else. It's only me, you know. And that's a really interesting feeling, because that came from somewhere came from some kind of larger consciousness than the individual we're used to living with every day.
How did you guys originate? So your name is the House of Cadre, and where did that come from? Like,
Oh.
what genre do you guys identify
Right.
resonate
Phoebe
with?
Blue.
Cadre was the original. He was actually doing band. Even we moved in. Even I met him, and around I met him. He was in a recording. I helped little percussion,
Yeah.
and that's the start. And we moved in Staten Island, and we have a lots of music community in Staten Island, and we started playing around.
More than Brooklyn.
Yeah, yeah. It's tight community, so it's more.
It took a while to
Yeah,
break in.
yeah. But and we start to play couple friend, and he thought about cadre. That's the meaning.
Cadre is the
yeah.
upper echelon of devotees in a,
Right,
in a
Okay.
some kind of program. And Phoebe Blue, who's another singer-songwriter, she mispronounced it?
No, actually, she
she-
actually tried to do little live in our house that day. And so we're going to have some live show at the House
Oh,
of Cadre.
the house.
That's the kind of style of
Yeah.
House of Cadre.
That was with
yeah,
Allergic to Bees. And
yeah, with local band.
Yeah.
That's the Cadre into the House of Cadre.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
It's
That's
just-
so cool.
It sounded like it felt like it worked. I don't know. There's other. Would you believe? I go on the internet. There's like 7 or 8 other cadres,
Oh, wow.
but there's nobody this House of Cadre.
Yep. And that's how it became uniquely yours.
Hopefully.
And now we're going to get into House of Cadre's next song called Tonight.
I heard the radio say it was gonna be alright. A better fortune so connected to the world of hype. Guerrilla theater and the play absurd. I couldn't separate the flesh from word. Meaningful something that I thought I heard. Tonight, do 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 do. Tonight, do 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 do. I heard the radio say it was safe to fly tonight. Outside the rabble and attempting to get it right. I wandered with as if someplace to go. Inside my coat there was the faintest glow. If only somewhere I could let it show. Tonight, do 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 do. Tonight, do 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 do. A little love, reaching to the end of the world. A little love, reaching to the end of the world. Tonight, do 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 do. Tonight, do 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 do. I heard the radio say, "Welcome to the new frontier." Consuming moments in the space between what's far and near. Some signs had lately come from both extremes. The balance point was somewhere in between. I couldn't follow any more than be. Tonight, do 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 do. 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 Tonight.
And we're back. Could you tell us a little bit about your musical influences, whether it's other musicians or different things that you're inspired
Well, I
by?
always liked rock and roll. I thought of really underrated band. I think one of the best bands, of course, the Beatles, but the Clash. Boy, I love the Clash. They were so cool. Their songs, and they're really this really tough sentiment, and yet a lot of their songs, like "Lost in the Supermarket," it's very tender. like anybody else, I listened to a ton of Beatles and Crosby, Stills and Nash, that kind of country thing. And I always wanted to write my own stuff. And it was always mediocre stuff. Not that my stuff is so great now, but there kind of came a point where all of a sudden something turned, and it was like a whole new paradigm, a whole new way of looking at things. I changed my guitar strings, and I made a mistake. Instead of tuning the G string to G, I tuned it to F sharp, and that just blew the doors wide open. Melodies just came. I couldn't write down the melodies fast enough. Just by changing the strings of the guitar, and then I started to think, who made the strings of the guitar? Some old dead guys. You say, okay, the first one is E. Who said the first one is E? Why can't the first one be F? And I was playing guitar for about 15 years, but I'm used to putting my fingers a certain way and hearing a certain chord, but because the strings were tuned differently, I put my fingers in a certain way, and I didn't hear that chord, I heard something else, but I didn't have any prejudice against it, so a lot of musical stuff came through, more music than words. My words had to catch up to the music. And it was really just like, you know, just that final drip of water in the glass before it overflows. And then we were very lucky to meet, I'd like to give this guy a plug, Joe Pecora, extremely creative recording engineer. And I've worked with him for about 5 years, and he never does the same thing twice. So that helped my confidence, because he was also very supportive, you know, and he's a block away, so he's part of the neighborhood too.
Yeah.
We like it much better than Brooklyn.
That's great.
We
Love
know
to hear that.
We know our neighbors. We're friends with our neighbors.
Tight, much tighter. Yeah.
Is there any other mediums that you guys have for your art? Do you do any other kind of art?
He does. He's actually also
Fine artist.
fine artist.
Okay.
Yes, and I'm more like I used to be preschool teacher. Right now I work with other end seniors, but I'm a educator, but also do a little bit of folk art.
Oh, cool.
Right now, it's more like full-time takeover. Yeah, most of creative come from him. Yeah, I'm accompanied with him.
Well, I was an artist before we met.
Yeah, way before.
I got my MFA at Pratt, which means if I have $3, I can get on the subway.
Good credit, right?
I don't know. New York used to be, when people were forced to be together, people, you know, if you wanted to hang out with your friend, you went to the cafe. And you had a couple beers or a couple coffees, but now you don't have to go out. You can, you know, you can Zoom a couple of friends at one time and sit. And there's something lost. There's something, spontaneousness is lost. There hasn't been any kind of decent musical scene in years. There hasn't been any kind of decent art show in years. Every now and then, yes, there's something. But I kind of think people have just become so alienated, and the brain is so lazy. You know, if we have something, if we do something for the brain says, okay, well, I don't have to do that anymore, right? No, you still have to work. It's very hard to push these things into place, especially when there's a lot of push towards commercial mediocrity. I can't believe people don't know this word anymore. Kitsch? People don't know what kitsch is? Ersatz culture? People don't even know the meaning of the word anymore, and it's kind of taken over. Ersatz culture means fake culture. You know, they don't want the real thing. Why do people want the picture of the dogs playing poker? Because it's easy to look at. You have to listen to music. It takes energy to listen to music. It takes direction to listen to music. You know, you have to be on your toes. It's much more easy to eat something that's pre-digested.
Yeah.
So in a certain sense, what we're trying to do with the music is try to get back a certain amount of purity.
Keep it pure to source.
You know, and I don't mean that in any pretentious way at all, but just
No, it's just integrity.
integrity,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
The motivation is completely internal.
To be real in a world that is so much projections and so much false reality and so much disconnect. It takes a lot of courage, and it's a beautiful thing to be that. Absolutely.
So necessary to put that energy out, right?
Absolutely.
If you can do something like that, if you can, you know, I read this thing in the I Ching. It said, Superior person trusts people who are trustworthy. Superior person also trusts people who are not trustworthy. Therefore, trustworthiness becomes a part of their character, you know, and I think sometimes with these songs, I'm not trying to do it for any reason, but just to see what happens if I do this, what happens if I do that,
That's actually
you know? Do I want to say, sometimes I find myself saying something in the song and I don't want to say it. So I have to scale it back and make some erasures, you know, because I want things to somehow, many times, if things can be more ambiguous, open to a variety of interpretation, then you can get a piece of music or a piece of art that never gets old. It's possible to go to some place where you never make a mistake. Wow, how can that happen?
And it also holds each kind of depth, because it's like art. When you're looking at something, it's that person's interpretation and their own experience projecting onto
Yeah.
it. If you
Always-
make it like that,
Oh,
it can
there's
provide
this
that.
guy, Ezra Pound, he's some kind of poet, I don't really like him that much, but he said, music and art, good music and art are always front page news. It's never section C. And the stuff that was made 5,000 years ago, you look at them Egyptian things and man, they look as fresh and as, in 5,000 years from now, they're gonna still be connection. And the art is going to exist and the art is going to remain pure. There's going to be a lot of junk around and a lot of crap mixed in, but the real art will endure. And it's important, I think, to have something in your life that is bigger than you are. And this is something we make, and it still seems like somehow it's more than us. You know, I think that's, for me, that's a very cool sensation. You know, I feel like, and it occurred to me recently that intuition is not necessarily that creative consciousness is not necessarily something you're aware of. You pick up information, you pick up stuff, you pick up connections of stuff all the time, and it's not conscious. But if you have something like an outlet like painting or music, a craft to tie that down, it's amazing what can come out. You know, we've had so many experiences that are worthy of being artistic experiences, but we're not in the kind of society that does that. We gloss over lots of things, you know, we don't ever stop and smell the roses.
Well, that's what you're doing with your music, and you know, it's like even what you were saying before, the fact that you organically put it out there, and then you get to interpret what you're tapping into.
Yeah.
So with that being said, if we can tap into the next song,
Which
it
is?
will be Given.
Unconscious habit helps the heart to heal the helping. Generations come and go. Forgetting all of yesterday is necessary sorrow. And I give in to what I cannot know. Heartfelt hellos cannot inform the situation. Bleeding on my window pane. Eternity in love with forms of time is for beginners. And I give in to what cannot be changed. Doing and not doing is a game, but I could never live without the same. fades, rapidly unwinding form. Eternity in love with forms of time is for beginners, and I give in to what cannot be born. Doing and not doing is a game, but I could never live without the chain. No, I could never live without the chain.
And we're back again. So where can we find you guys? Where are you streaming? Do you have any local shows coming up?
We have two record albums, and one is Standing House of Cadre is actual name of CD, and
The first one
also
and the second one.
Second is Standing Universe.
We're under House of Cadre. Everything that we've ever released is on YouTube.
YouTube.
So you can go to YouTube and get House of Cadre. I know we had something with CD Baby, and we should have something on Spotify, Radio Airplay, but I haven't kind of kept up with them. I know the CD Baby one, that has everything.
Yeah.
Both
But-
CDs plus a few singles we released.
Right. Easiest one is just punching House of Cadre, and
I
it's
mean, not
actually
CD
coming-
Baby.
Yeah, CD.
YouTube.
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 And also we have a friend who comes to the local fest, and he always shooting our
Rondell.
yeah,
Oh, yeah,
our
so there's some video. of
video
us
is on
the
yeah, House of
YouTube
Cadre.
also.
Come back to live video too. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for performing
Thank
and for
you.
being
Very
with us.
We
much.
appreciate the whole,
Sharing
appreciate
your
everybody's
Yes, yes.
assistance.
It was
Yeah,
very
you guys
great.
have incredible music, and what you're doing is really powerful. So thank you for doing what you
We're
do.
working on a new release right now.
Awesome.
Yes.
Oh, that's great news.
Yeah,
Definitely let
he's-
everybody know.
Well, it's, that guy I talked about, Joe Pecora, Red Room Studio, they're literally a block and a quarter away from us. So it's so easy to get there,
That's great.
you know? And his front window was falling apart and the molding was coming off. So in exchange for doing a number of songs, I replaced this whole front window and painted it and caulked it up. So it's a real one hand washes the other situation.
How many songs? 4 songs? 4.
What?
New song 4.
So far we have 4. I think we'll probably do maybe 8.
That's a good number.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have quite a backlog, so it's possible to pick out. I'm trying to be really more specifically pick out ones that kind of hold together and have more commercial value. I picked out a lot of creative songs with the stuff in the past, and I'd rather be more, have a wider audience. And I'd still like to, we'd like to put a band together. We'd like to meet some people who play bass. Some of these songs are pretty short. You know, you put an instrumental break in, you got, you know, you add another 70 seconds to the song.
Yeah.
But we bought our own house, so we can wait. We were kicked out of Dumbo. I don't know if you know that place, but we bought our own place, and I don't know how we could live without it. Right smack in the middle of the Bay Street corridor renovation. We're so lucky. But we can, you know, the people that are moving in, are you familiar with the Stapleton area?
Yep.
You know, there's that McDonald's, and they're building this place, The Point. It's like 10 stories, 2 city blocks square. You know how many people are going to be around?
Yeah.
And they're building one next to it too, where Western Beef. That's going to be all knocked down. That's going to be another one. And I'm thinking to myself, these people are going to want something to do on a Friday or a Saturday, aren't they? This is the perfect place to get venues to develop, because, you know, if they go out Saturday, they're going to want to stay in on Friday. If they go out on Friday, they're going to want to stay in on Sunday. And there should be something like, like Everything Goes Cafe, They had a nice little stage area. They had a little bit of a guy doing mixing and everything.
There's also Hub 17 on 73 Wave Street
Yeah,
as well. Yeah,
that
that
place.
does a bunch of events. And they have a
And
stage.
Sometimes it really doesn't matter if you're trying to put the polish on, whether there's 2 people or 20 people.
Yeah.
You know, it's just different from standing in front of your refrigerator playing, you know.
Absolutely.
And that's,
And the intention will follow. You know, I trust that wherever you guys like what you want to do and what you want to develop, it will, you know, it will meet you and you will meet it. And I hope that for you guys, because your music is great, and I hope that it falls on the ears who are meant to listen to it. So.
well, just one manga TV show. You know, get your people over here.
Anime?
Anime, yeah, something like that.
Maybe. Yep.
Well, thank you so much for
Thank
being
you.
on the
Very
show.
much.
It's
Thank you
really
very much
lovely
for your
Nice to meet you.
speaking with you
Thank you
and
very
having you
much for
on.
opportunity.
This was
So
Raw
fun.
Urban Sessions, and we will see you next time.
When I believed in the world, there was a heartbeat, stopping now to wonder, can you hear it pound? Flower out of time, between 2 seasons, flower out of time, so hard to understand. And everything that ever meant anything seemed like something that I missed. The form is not the essential identity, just something lost, indigenous kiss. A coin is tossed, indigenous kiss. Ripped and torn, indigenous kiss. I got reborn, indigenous kiss. Changing game. What happened once can happen again. Between the night and day, against the wind, there is a moment for every kind of mountain. There is a moment for every kind of world. I prayed to the sun and wished on the moon, and anyone's guess is a guess too soon. Magic wish world, grant my wish and open up your indigenous kiss. My empty cup, your indigenous kiss. Ripped and torn, indigenous kiss. I got reborn, indigenous kiss. That's it. Thank you.